Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sam from Historic Travels, wishing all of you a good day. I hope you all are doing well and are having a fantastic week. Now, in case you don't know it, but you probably do know it since you clicked on this video, we are now about to start another complete timeline series about another famous ship on this channel. And what ship are we going to be talking about? Well, we're going to be talking about the RMS Lusitania. The RMS Lusitania was a passenger liner developed and built by the Cunard Line, and the Cunard Line was one of the biggest competitors to the White Star Line, the company that built the Titanic. And what makes the Lusitania famous from history is that on May 7th, 1915, as the Lusitania was carrying passengers from New York City to the UK, the Lusitania was spotted and sunk by a German U-boat. You have to remember, during this time period, World War I was raging in Europe. And you see, the fact that a German U-boat would torpedo a passenger liner, not a military ship, and this passenger liner was full of passengers, and civilians, not military personnel, sparked great controversy all over the world. And while it wasn't the main reason, the sinking of the Lusitania was a factor that would get the US involved in the First World War. So, join me in today's video as we now tell the complete story of the RMS Lusitania, and we try to shed light on what happened to this famous vessel lost to history. But before we do that, I would like to take a moment to thank IceCo, this channel's very first sponsor, for help make this complete timeline series possible. IceCo is a company that makes portable refrigerators and freezers, as well as other forms of outdoor equipment to meet any type of outdoor activity need you should find yourself in. If you would like to learn more about IceCo and see what products and services they have available, please click the link in the description below. IceCo also sent me a fridge/freezer unit for a dedicated review video, and that video will be coming later next week, so be sure you watch that. The fridge unit they sent me was the VL45 Pro S. If you would like to learn more about that fridge unit, there's a link for it in the description below. Now, when that review video comes out, be sure you all watch it, because with that video, there's also going to be a contest. IceCo has given the okay to hold a contest where the winner of that contest will win one of their mini fridges. The fridge unit that you could be entered to win is the IceCo T12 mini fridge. All you have to do is watch the dedicated review video, leave a comment, and you will be entered to win. The winner will be selected randomly through a random comment picker around 2 weeks after the video comes out. So be sure you watch that review video and be sure you leave a comment so you'll be entered to win. And if you would like to purchase any of the fridges that I discussed in this video, please enter the promo code HISTORIC on the IceCo website to get 12% off your order. The story of the Lusitania officially began several years before the ship was even built. Before I can properly tell you the story of the Lusitania itself, we must first travel back in time to a time period before the ship was constructed, so I can better tell you about the world that the Lusitania would be born into. Because you need to understand the series of events that would eventually lead to the Lusitania being constructed, and that way you'll have a better understanding as to why the Lusitania was so desperately needed in the world. In the late 1800s to the early 1900s, one of the fastest growing industries in the world was that of the passenger steamship companies, because these companies were allowing immigrants a new and safer way to cross the Atlantic in order to start a new life in America. During this time period, there were more and more people wanting to leave Europe behind and try to start a new life for themselves over in the United States. And these steamship companies were ready to capitalize on this by offering these people a new and safer way to cross the Atlantic. You have companies like the Cunard Line, the White Star Line, the Holland American Line, just to name a few examples. And all of these companies were trying to best each other. They were always trying to do things to convince people to sail on their ships instead of the competition. These companies were always trying to build the biggest ships in the world, the fastest ships in the world, the most luxurious ships in the world. Everybody at these companies were trying to think, what can we do to make people sail on our ships instead of the competition? And for a while, Cunard Line was one of the top companies in the world that were offering immigrants a safe and effective way to cross the Atlantic on their ships. They even had the fastest ships in the world for a while. However, in the late 1890s, Cunard Line's status as one of the top steamship companies began to change, as they were slowly but surely being bested by their competition. And they also saw a dramatic decrease in ridership because all of their passengers were now moving to the competition due to the new ocean liners that their competition was bringing to the table. In the late 1890s, the Cunard Line wasn't all that concerned with the White Star Line in terms of competition. They were more concerned about two German steamship companies in particular, more specifically the German NDL Line and the German Hamburg American Line. These companies were quickly overtaking the Cunard Line by offering bigger, faster, and more luxurious ships than what the Cunard Line could offer, and due to the fact that these ships departed from German ports and not British ports like the Cunard Line did, it was easier for immigrants migrating from Europe to America to board these German ships instead of the British ones. And because of this, the Cunard Line saw their ridership greatly diminish. The first big blow to the Cunard Line, and what really clued them in that they needed to pay more attention to these German steamship companies, was the fact that in the year 1897, the Cunard Line lost the Blue Ribbon. For those of you who don't know, the Blue Ribbon is an award given to a ship that is the fastest at crossing the Atlantic. Up until this year, the Cunard Line had it. They first got it in the year 1893 with their new steamship, the RMS Campania. However, the Campania's sister ship, the RMS Lusitania, stole the Blue Ribbon from the Campania. But it was still in the Cunard family of ships, so the Cunard Line didn't care that much. However, in the year 1897, the NDL line launched their brand new vessel, the Kaiser Wilhelm der Grosse, which was the world's very first four-funnel steamship. And just 6 months after this vessel entered service, it stole the Blue Ribbon from the RMS Lusitania. And this really signaled an end to the Cunard Line's dominance. And if they wanted to stay relevant in the steamship passenger trade, then they would really have to step up their game and come out with some brand new ships in order to compete with these brand new German superliners. Over the next several years, the Cunard Line would continue to operate and they would succeed in building several new vessels. However, from what information I could find about these ships, it doesn't seem like these ships made any significant impact with the public. The most famous vessel that I could find built during this period was the RMS Carpathia, which was built in the year 1903. But this ship really wouldn't become famous until around 10 years later, when it helped rescue the survivors from the Titanic disaster. So, from 1897 onward, it seems like the Cunard Line was slipping further and further from the public's eye, because the public was now shifting their focus towards the brand new German superliners, which were quickly becoming the most popular way to cross the Atlantic. Now, several years before the Carpathia was even built, another severe blow was dealt to the Cunard Line, and this occurred in the year 1901 and was caused by a man named J.P. Morgan. In case you don't know, J.P. Morgan was an American businessman and millionaire. And in the year 1901, he decided that he wanted to invest heavily in the transatlantic shipping industry, and he wanted to create a brand new company. This company would eventually become known as the International Mercantile Marine Company, or IMM for short. In the year 1901, when he started up IMM, he wanted to bring in a bunch of smaller companies and merge them with IMM so he could basically create a monopoly on the transatlantic shipping industry. One of the first things that J.P. Morgan did with his brand new company was he went out and purchased a small British freight shipping company known as Frederick Leyland & Co. This happened in the year 1901, and then not long after that, he went out and purchased a controlling interest in another company, a company that many of you are probably familiar with. This company would be known as the White Star Line, and this is the company that owned the Titanic. Once he did this, he then folded the White Star Line into IMM. Then, 1 year later, J.P. Morgan and his team at IMM negotiated a deal with the NDL line and the Hamburg American line. They basically set up a community of interest agreement where they would try to fix prices and divide among the three companies the transatlantic trade. And then, not long after that, the partners at IMM also acquired a 51% stake in the Dutch Holland American line. Believe it or not, IMM even tried to purchase the Cunard Line, an offer that the Cunard Line refused. So, as you can plainly see, it didn't take IMM very long to really get established in the transatlantic shipping industry once they got up and running. I mean, it didn't take long for them to acquire several companies and then work out deals with other companies for their benefit. Now, while IMM was busy doing all this, the people over at Cunard were getting more and more nervous, because if IMM continued doing this, then according to the head of Cunard, he saw this as a possible threat to the entire British shipping industry. So he did the only thing he could do. He went to the British government for help, because if something wasn't done, IMM could take over as the leading transatlantic shipping industry company in the world. The head of the Cunard Line, a man by the name of George Burns, approached the British government and explained to them what was going on with IMM and the Cunard Line. He explained to them the threat that IMM possessed to the entire British shipping industry. So, after some negotiating, the British government agreed to give the Cunard Line a loan of £2.6 million in June of 1903 in order to help the Cunard Line finance the construction of 2 brand new revolutionary ocean liners. It was the Cunard Line's hope that these 2 brand new ships would give the Cunard Line and the British shipping industry the break that it needed in order to properly fight against IMM and stop them from gaining a monopoly on the entire transatlantic shipping industry. And in case you didn't guess it, but I'm guessing you did, these 2 ships would eventually become known as the RMS Lusitania and the RMS Mauretania. These 2 ships would definitely play a huge role in helping the Cunard Line keep IMM from gaining complete control into the transatlantic shipping industry. However, we can talk more about that at a later time. I think this is a good place to pause the Lusitania timeline series for now. So thank you all so much for watching part 1. Be sure you tune into part 2 as we continue the story of the RMS Lusitania, and we continue to shed light on why the Lusitania was such an important ocean liner. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure you leave a like, be sure to subscribe, and thank you all so much for all the support. You all are awesome. You all take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks to our captain level Patreon supporters, Olivia Julius, Canadian, Greg Gatlick, and Callum Whaley. Thank you all so much for all the support.